So that's what I do, man. I feel like it's important when we're at the stage where we're like, okay, let's craft the vision for the future. There's many key ingredients, but the main ones is, okay, is it something that you're willing to be broke at for many years? Because chances are you will be, right? That's the first thing. The second thing is, does this make a contribution on someone more than yourself, right? I'll use the example of, okay, if someone wants to be like a rapper or something, that's great that you want to rap, but do people actually like your music? Are people willing to pay to come see your show, right? Does it make a contribution to other people? That's another key ingredient. The other thing is, you know, is there actually a need for what it is that you want to do, whether this is business or, you know, just a corporate job? Like there has to be those three ingredients. Does it impact someone else? Do you enjoy doing it? Are you willing to stick with it for the long term? Because if you're not, most people give up, man. They'd be like, oh, I'm going to do X, Y, Z, and I'll jump into it, but then nothing happens. So they just quit on it. Oh, I guess it wasn't for me. I'll just go a different route.
Exactly. Welcome to another episode of Kickin' with JB. This is my first ever remote episode of Kickin' with JB, and I have the amazing, you know, I'm gonna go ahead and let you introduce yourself.
Man, you hit me with the amazing. I appreciate that, JB.
Yes, sir.
Don't gas me up before we even get rolling, bro. My name is Taj Dashaun. I'm an athlete career transition coach, podcaster, just like JB. I'm an author, soon to be 2-time author, vice president of a publishing company, man. I'm just here to serve, man. Here to help people transition, here to help people tell their stories to the world. I got my hands in a few different things, but it all comes down to serving. And I know you know all about that, JB. I'm preaching to the choir, man.
100%. Love to hear that. You know what I'm saying? So, obviously I know, but you call yourself an athlete transition coach. So what? Yes, so how would you define an athlete transition coach?
Well, I always say that when I first started on this journey of helping athletes transition, I wanted to be someone that I needed in my corner when I was going through the transition, almost like a light at the end of the tunnel. So my job as an athlete transition coach is not just to help a former athlete get to the point where they know exactly what they want to do, like career-wise or business-wise. But before we get to that point, really helping them get clear on being proud of their accomplishments, you know, being able to get to a point where holding on to the game is not holding them back from moving on to the next stage of their life, right? So, yeah, man, that's what I do, man. I help athletes get to a point where they're even excited to wake up out of bed so they can be excited about creating this new chapter. And then from there, I help them map out and execute on that game plan to get to where they want to be, man.
Facts. So obviously you didn't wake up and was just like, today I'm an athlete transition coach. So I'm assuming you were an athlete before you were an athlete transition coach. So let's go through that like process of your like athletic career.
Yeah, man. So I played football at Stony Brook University. I wasn't heavily recruited out of high school, man. I had a better senior year than junior year. You know what I mean? So I kind of missed that.
I feel that. I didn't even play my junior year.
Oh, really?
I didn't even play my junior year of high school because I transferred from public to private school. That's a whole nother story. We'll get into that. Probably not today, but maybe me and you. It was a wild process.
Yeah, man. That sounds wild. But yeah, man, I had a decent junior year, you know what I mean? Not really enough. I got attention from a few schools, but no official offers. But senior year is where some of the offers started coming in. And I'm not going to name names because I don't want to throw any schools under the bus. But
I would.
Some of them. I took a visit, man. I took a visit to some of these places, and I was just like, yeah. And then Stony Brook came along, which is like, you know, D1 AA, smaller tier D1 school. And I was like, all right, I'll go there and be the big fish in the small pond.
Exactly.
And that didn't end up working out that way. And but yeah, man, like you said, I didn't become a transition coach overnight. It came from my experience. I knew I wasn't going to the NFL, but still had a hard time adapting to the game after I graduated, right? So that led to a series of career challenges and stuff, which we can get into, but it all led me up to this point. And around 2018, I took the dive off the deep end and went full-time into entrepreneurship. And obviously wasn't easy, you know, had to earn my stripes. But 3 years later, just being consistent, a lot of good things have been happening, been able to help a lot of people, man. So, yeah.
100%. I feel like in this day and age, everybody wants to be an entrepreneur because nobody really wants to work that 9 to 5. You know what I'm saying? I always talk to everybody, like anybody I ever talk to when we like get into career and stuff like that. Like I never want to wake up every day do my 40 hours a week, but be miserable. You know what I'm saying? Like that just sounds terrible to me. But also I know the grind of an entrepreneur. You know what I'm saying? Because you make your own hours, and if you don't work, you don't eat. You know what I'm saying? Like, so
right.
It's tough. It's like a double-edged sword. You know what I'm saying? Do you want that? Because I've talked to entrepreneurs. They're like, I wish I had a 9-to-5, that structure that I went and clocked in every day. Like, as an entrepreneur, you're on the clock 24 hours a day. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So that, I know that's definitely a grind. Because I remember you hit me on LinkedIn like 2 years ago. Like, I don't even know if you remember this. You hit me on LinkedIn like 2018 because I was like, I recognize this dude from somewhere. You know what I'm saying? And you hit me like, hey, I'm an athlete transition coach, getting into it. Just want to know like what your playing career. But like at that time, I was knee deep into my football career. I'm like, there's no plan B, no nothing. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to the league. I'm going to change my life forever. You know what I'm saying? But obviously, stuff happens. But it's just crazy how, like, we circle back and we're here now, and just see how much you've just grown in just little as those 2 years. You know what I'm saying? Like you got a book, which I just copped for myself. Make sure y'all go get. You know what I'm saying? I have my copy.
Appreciate it.
Thrive After Sports.
Appreciate me.
Yes, sir. And it's fine. So I was just reading. Obviously, I just got it, so I haven't like really got a chance to really like get a good deep dive into it. But I already started the first, like, the book's dedication. The book says, this book is dedicated to anyone who feels lost. I wrote this book with intentions of helping you speed up the process of finding your way and discovering what truly you want out of life. Keep pushing, keep searching, believe that there's a light at the end of the tunnel for you. There is. And I was like, man, like, I feel like it doesn't even apply to athletes at this point. It's like anybody just going through a transition. You know what I'm saying? Like, just that transition period is so hard, but you kind of like dive into that in the book, but also like because I remember I was reading in the book, you were saying like your family were saying like, how are you doing? Because you had a couple of jobs that were paying pretty decent, but you were saying like you were just surviving. You know what I'm saying? But like from the outside looking in, you were doing pretty decent, but you want to thrive. You don't want to survive. So can you like really explain what that is to thrive and not just survive? Because I feel like a lot of us are just survive and just trying to find a job that'll pay us the most money so we can, you know what I'm saying, look the dopest. You feel me?
Exactly, man. And you really touched on it earlier, JB. Like, you hit the nail right on the head when you were talking about not wanting to work in that kind of corporate lifestyle. Not that there's anything wrong with that.
Yeah, facts.
But my whole definition of going from surviving my whole definition of surviving and thriving is, like you said, not just skating by, not just being like, okay, I got a job now, I'm paying my bills, I'm doing this little thing, and then I relax on the weekends, crack beers or whatever. Survive these things sight almost to the point you can't get out of bed. Yeah. And I think that it's definitely possible to do that. It just takes work. Like you said, it's not easy. It takes work to get to that point. But I feel like I had a decision to make, man. I always say I feel like I didn't have a choice, right? I could either have stayed and existed in that lifestyle, or I could bet on myself, right? And take the leap. And that's what I did, man. And not everybody has to become an entrepreneur to thrive. Not everybody. It's more of like a mindset or the way you approach your day or the vision that you have for yourself and the people you can impact. It's more along those lines than just like, making $1 million or becoming an entrepreneur. But and you can even go from surviving to thriving in little ways, right? Even something like in your fitness, right? Are you just surviving? Are you just, I want to work out every now and then? Or are you thriving? Like, man, I feel great because I take care of my mind. I take care of spirit. Survival thrive like a mentality. And once you make that internal shift, things in the external world start to change for you too. So that's what I'm all about, man. No,
for sure. I think that's amazing because I was just reading in that book, like I was just saying, like you said, you had good jobs, from the outside looking in, and I feel like I most related to the part because I'm like kind of in that right now where you were like you had just got out of college, obviously, so you'd been in college for 4 years, paying your own bills, living on your own. But just taking that L of going back and living with your parents, as a grown man, after just being on your own, moving how you want to move, you know what I'm saying, have your own space, and then you back to that, like, that childhood room, you feel me? So I feel like that's the hardest part on, like, athletes or just any adult, like, just going through that transition, like coming out of college and trying to find a job, because also in your book, I don't know, I was just like, yo, this book is me, yo. Like the whole time I was reading that first chapter, I'm like, this is me. Like that part where you was like I thought like once I get a college degree, I'm set. You know what I'm saying? I feel like that's every college kid, every college athlete. They think like, okay, like the goal is go to college. You know, I've been blessed because I don't have no student loans. You know what I'm saying? Shout out all the people who do, I'm very sorry to hear it. You know what I'm saying? But like, I'm blessed. You don't got no student loans, but I got a degree, so I'm good. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna get out at this college. I'm gonna get out of college and I'm gonna make 6 figures. You feel me? I feel like that's everybody's like go-to plan, but lo and behold, that does not happen. So like, can we just go into that, just like that process of going back to your parents' house? Because I feel like that's the toughest on young men or just young people in general, just that like transition of having to go back home, figure it out. And it's hard to get a job out here. You know what I'm saying? It's not easy, especially a job that fulfills you. I mean, I don't feel like it's not very hard to get a job, but it's hard to get a job that fulfills you, that like you enjoy going to, that really you wake up every day and like you're excited to be there. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, exactly. It really is, man. And it really comes from lack of clarity, right? And I always say that the things that fulfill you, whatever your purpose is, whatever your vision is, it's not something you're going to find on a job board. It's not something you're going to be on Indeed scrolling one day or LinkedIn Jobs and be like, oh, wow, that's it. That's my dream career. Yeah. 9 times out of 10, that's not the case. Exactly. It comes from, it's something that has to be cultivated. You know what I mean? Like fulfillment has to be cultivated. 100%. So something I teach is starting internally and being like, not just what am I doing from a career perspective or a business perspective, but like, how am I actually living, right? Like, don't focus on what you want to do, focus on how you want to live. So if you want to work with a certain group of people, if you want to work from home, if you only want to work a certain amount of hours a week, you have to basically project that out to, okay, how long do I want it to take me to get there? Like I knew going into it, it was going to take me 3 to 5 years to get to a point where I can support myself off of what it is that I'm doing, right? I'm comfortable with that after having already moved out. But I don't want to overlook what you said about how difficult it is to move back, because I know someone who's listening to this right now, they're either going through that or have gone through it. And like you said, man, it's one of the most challenging things in the world to go from being in a place where you're paying your own bills, come and go as you please. Next thing you know, you look up after this career that kind of ended abruptly and your mom's telling you to take out the trash again. And you're like, wow, how did I get here? I don't even have any job prospects
I'm sick
to
right
get
now.
me out of this position, man. So
yeah, that
I lived it, man. I know what you're going through. It's tough.
Yeah.
I'll say this too, JB. What you don't want to do, this is the mistake I made, is because you're so desperate to get back to that place of freedom, like rush back out. So what I did was I was desperate, so I took any job. Yeah. I jumped on a job and just out, but all I really did was end up being in debt and frustrated. You know what I mean? Yeah. And just kind of job hopping because I couldn't even like tolerate where I was at. So
no, 100%. I almost did that too, because I'm always here, then I'm there, then I'm here, then I'm there, then I'm here. So like I tell people that, but they don't. They're just like, oh yeah, that's why you don't. That's why you haven't moved out yet. You know, you're always gone. So it's easy for somebody else to be like, yeah, that's why you're not gone. But me personally, it's like, yo, I'm about to be 26 now. You know what I'm saying? I'm about to be 26. Like it's time. Like it's because I remember looking at my older brother. He was at the crib and he was like 25 and I was like 16. He's like 10 years older than me. So I was like, he was like 25, I was 15. And I was like, I will never be at mama's house when I'm 25 years old. Like, you know what I'm saying? And I'm just like, not saying he was doing bad or anything, like, but I was just like, I'm not doing that. Like, I'm going to be who knows where, you know what I'm saying? I'm at all these goals and these places. Because I even consider, I had literally an apartment lined up downtown Chicago. You know what I'm saying? Like, I was like, if I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it big. I'm going to do it right. But then I was just doing the math. I'm just like, the amount of money I'm going to spend on rent, gas, food, like I'm gonna need a legitimate job. Like I'm gonna have to pretty much put football like on a back burner. You know what I'm saying? Because if I want to pay these bills and pay these expenses, unless I just want to be in debt and go broke trying to prove that I can, you know, move out on my own. But I mean, but then I talk to other people who like are just, I guess I would say more successful than me, like in the business aspect. And they're just like, yo, stay as long as possible. Like stay with your parents until you can really like buy something that you can really afford, that's, you know, that's really like, you know what I'm saying? And it's crazy to hear people say that, because you would think people would be like, yo, leave, get out, get your own space, you know what I'm saying, this and that. But people who really are successful or like just doing really well in the business aspect, like my friend's brother states he was 28, but when he got out, he bought his house, you know what I'm saying? Like, and he can do whatever he want with it now, you know what I'm saying? So it's just like, I really want to get rid of that negative stigma of just, we have to, once we are done with college, once we're done with, you know what I'm saying, get out the house and go live and pretty much just survive, because you're not thriving at that point. You just, honestly, you working to pay the bills. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly. And that's a great point you bring up, man. Talking about that stigma, there's nothing wrong with that, right? We live in different times. Facts. And especially as an athlete, it takes you some time to get on your feet, because most of us aren't landing into, you know, a 6-figure job. We're landing just trying to get some experience, right? So, and it's easy to look at the people like, man, I got teammates who, you know, they went to the league or they came back home and had jobs lined up.
And they balling now. Yeah, exactly. And they like going crazy.
Exactly.
Because you got those other teammates who, you know what I'm saying, who were drafted or doing their thing, and you see them on Snapchat with the new Tesla, and I'm just like, I'm still at my mama crib in this Honda. You know what I'm saying? Like damn.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So thank you for being brave enough to bring that up, right? Because that's a difficult thing to deal with. But you know what we don't focus on, JB? Is the people who got it worse than us. Oof. Think about the people who didn't have a home to go back to. Because we have teammates like that too. Let's be real. Yeah, they didn't have, like, you and I are fortunate, man, if you really think about it. Yes, it's a pride thing. Yes, 100%. You want to be your own man and stand on your own too. But we have a home. We had a home to go back to. Mm-hmm. And a lot of guys, man, not just guys, but, you know, men and women. I talked to some overseas basketball players, you know, men and women. There are women, bro, who come back from overseas ball and don't have a home to go to. You and I have teammates, like family won't have them in, or maybe, you know, folks might be locked up or on drugs, or maybe they stayed with grandma before college. They get back from college, grandma passed away. So where are you going to stay now? Yeah. You know, and they're forced to be in these positions. So, you know, it's one of those things where you got to be grateful for what you have. And that advice that you've been getting is strong, man, to just stay put, because there's no sense, like you said, in going out to get the apartment in downtown Chicago just so you can, you know, look good. But you're going to spend 8 hours a day paying for that apartment.
100%.
Yeah, you're not even gonna be there. You're gonna be working a job you hate.
And that's what I was.
What you're doing is smart though.
And that's exactly what I was thinking. I'm like, yo, I'm gonna have this fat apartment. It's gonna be dope. I'm gonna get it decked out, whatever. But I'm gonna spend 90% of my time at work, sleep, like, and paying, grinding for this apartment. You know what I'm saying? I'm not even gonna have time to really enjoy this apartment. And I did the math. It was gonna cost me $10,000 in 6 months. Like I'm paying for parking now. I'm paying for, and then obviously if you stay down there, you're going to eat down there. You're going to go grocery shopping down there. You're going to get gas down there. And obviously everything's going to be just way more expensive. But like I said, that was probably the best advice someone gave me, was just to stay put. Cause it's easy to compare your race to everybody else's. You know what I'm saying? To compare. But I feel like that's like the generation, the day and age we live in with social media. Everybody's always constantly comparing what others are doing to themselves. But like, I just think that, but that transition from like not playing to playing, because I'm always like kind of teetering that line. You know what I'm saying? I'm always like, I'm playing, now I'm not playing. Oh, wait, am I still going to be able to play again? Another opportunity. You know what I'm saying? I've been blessed. I've been lucky. And I know there's guys, because I even like, with my process, I'm like, it's so much more I want to do. It's so much more I can do. You know what I'm saying? But there's other guys who are like, yo, I wish I did like the amount that you're doing. You know, I wish I had the opportunities you have right now. You know what I'm saying? So I just it always makes me like have to take a step back and realize that I am blessed, but I am always constantly in that transition of like, what do I want to do? But the biggest thing I feel like I'm focused on now is purpose. Mm-hmm. And I feel like you're big on purpose also, like not just having a job that's going to pay you a bunch of money. Obviously, you want a job that's going to provide for you and, you know what I'm saying, provide for the lifestyle you choose. But at the end of the day, I feel personally that you want a job that's going to fulfill you, that's going to like just like skyrocket you, that you're going to wake up and be on fire for every day. Because, I mean, it's cool to go to job and make a bunch of money. But, like, is it really cool to go to a job, make a bunch of money, and be miserable every day? You know what I'm saying? So you kind of touched on that in the book a little bit, just about how important purpose is when it comes to your job. Not just because you said you worked just a bunch of odd jobs, sales jobs, and it was just like you were making money, but, like, you were just kind of just in that corporate vortex, so to speak. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Yep. Because there was no long-term vision, right? And there's nothing wrong with taking jobs to pay bills. You always have to have that thing that's in front of you that's keeping you going, right? So, for example, I worked in jobs making great money in the corporate world. But when I took the leap to start my business, I knew that I was going to have to take a job that could sustain me, but also allow me to operate. So if I'm going back and working a job that has me drained at the end of the day, I'm not going to have the energy to build after work, before work, on the weekends. Because that's when the side hustle becomes the main hustle, when you're working on it in your free time. But so I had to make sure I was in a position to where I could have a job. So I installed glass, and I did all kind of random jobs that was well below my, experience level or education level. But what it did was it allowed me to earn some money, keep my mind fresh to operate. So there's nothing wrong with doing what you have to do until you can do what you want to do, right? And I always remind players, like, you're a freshman in life again. So you have to adopt that mentality. You're not going to walk across the stage and come home and make six figures. That's what I thought. That's what a lot of us think. But you're a freshman in life again, and you got to adopt that mentality. Like, I'm really looking at 4 or 5 years until I'm in my groove again. You're not going to gig a lot longer like it took me. It's going to take you a lot longer if you don't have clarity around what you're doing. You know what I mean? And what you're really working towards for that 3, 4, 5 years after you're done playing ball.
No, 100%. I definitely felt that because I feel like with this podcast, you know what I'm saying? Because it's hard because for so long you've been working at one goal and you've learned to kind of master that one goal, but you got to realize the steps you took to get there. You know what I'm saying? You didn't just wake up one day and was a Division I football player. You know what I'm saying? Like, you had to go through grade school, you had to go through middle school, you had to go through high school, and you did all those practices throughout those years, you know what I'm saying, to get to where you got. And it's like, it wasn't just like a woke up 5 years old, got to 18, D1. You know what I'm saying? Like, you had to go through all those practices to get there. And I feel like I'm learning that so much now because, like, with this podcast, this is a brand new thing for me. You know what I'm saying? With just new endeavors, I'm starting to coach high school football now, and that's a new endeavor for me. You know what I'm saying? So it's just a bunch of new things that I realize that, like, I'm not going to be this professional, best, number one. Like, I want to be, because, you know what I'm saying? Because that's like kind of what we grew up, like, just as athletes, just as people in general, because I don't want to just make this about athletes, just people in general. Like, everyone wants to be the best at what they do, you know what I'm saying? But everyone has also taken those steps to get to where they got to. No one just woke up one day and was there. You know what I'm saying? Like, they had a process of all that. So it's just, I'll be forgetting that, like, this is all just a process. I got to realize that, like, this podcast isn't going to get 1 million views on my first 5 episodes. You know what I'm saying? It might take me 20 episodes. It might take me 200 episodes. Because I was watching a John Maxwell video or whatever. That's like the author. I think he's like big on leadership. He's like, do you know how, because he's a very good public speaker. He would say, do you know how I got good at public speaking? He's like, because I didn't count. And he's like, you shouldn't count until you get to 10,000. Like, and it was just like, because everyone always like, what's the secret? What's the secret? Why are you so comfortable doing this? He's like, I didn't count until I got to rep 10,000. So just imagine the amount of reps, the amount of work he put in to get to where he got to. Like, obviously people see it now. They see he's just amazing. He's just natural, blah, blah, blah. You know what I'm saying? But this, that process, and it's hard because, like I said, we've been groomed to be so good and got to, like, pretty much almost the highest level. Because even going to college, playing college football, like, you're less than 1% or something like that. You know what I'm saying? So, and you're just so used to being this great athlete, but now you get into this business aspect, which is a whole different field, a whole different, like, you know, the real world is different animal. It's not sports. You know what I'm saying? It's kind of like sports, but it's a lot different. But like you said, you got to be a freshman at life again. And I feel like that's what so many guys struggle with. I struggle with, because it's like, yo, I'm a dog on the field, so I'm gonna be a dog in the business world. You know what I'm saying? But like, now you gotta take the steps to really get there. It's not just, and I love how in your book said, like, don't think this book isn't a how-to guide to make 6 figures. You know what I'm saying? This isn't an easy step. Like, you do all these steps, you're gonna make 6 figures in 2 months. Like, this is a process. This is gonna take time. It's gonna take years. You know what I'm saying? I think that's really interesting that you put that in the book. And then also, you even got into mental health in the book, the mental fitness. I didn't really get a chance to really dive deep into it, but I definitely love the part about mental health, because I feel like mental health isn't taught enough especially it's definitely not taught in high school, but I definitely feel like it should be more taught like in like a part of like the curriculum in college, because they have like those athlete like transition, like, you know, real world like forums for college kids a lot, but I feel like they need to have like mental health forums too, because, you know what I'm saying, because it's tough on these kids, because I know it was tough for me, you know what I'm saying, especially being a college kid and coming from a different place, but then also just being a college kid and realizing, hey, I might not play football no more, you know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So just like, can we touch on the part about the mental health aspect of just transitioning from your sports life to real life?
Yeah, man, I think it's key. And as you saw in the book, I call it mental fitness, because you have to be just as intentional about training your mind as you are about training your body, right? And there's different things for everybody, but one of my main things is making sure you're protecting and being intentional about what you're putting into your mind, right? So what I mean by protecting is like, you can't allow negative influences in, right? And sometimes those negative influences come from your own voice. Like, you'll be talking to yourself crazy in your own head, right? So a lot of what I do is train about how to be able to catch those thoughts. And I always give this analogy. I love this analogy. You'll probably appreciate this, JB. It's like, you have to, when you look out at the world, you have to imagine your mind as like the watchtower at an airport, right? And the watchtower and the control tower, they see all the planes coming in. And this is how our thoughts work, right? So if you have a thought to say, damn, I'm a failure because I didn't make it to the league, what you want to do is like be able to train yourself to identify that. So if I see that thought flying in, you know, viewing it from the watchtower, I can catch that and be like, wait a minute, let me pluck that out of the air and replace that with a better thought. Like, I played at an elite level. I had a chance to play a game. You know, I got my education paid for to play a game, right?
Exactly.
You know, I got a college education. I got played a professional contract to play sports. And then you start to become proud of yourself. Nice. Or if you start saying, here's another one, if you got a thought flying in from the watchtower that says, man, I'm lost, I have no idea what I'm doing with my life. Hold up. Let's not harp on that thought. Let's take that out the air and replace this with, I'm in the process of discovery, right? I'm working on discovering what it is that I want to do with my life. I should be excited when I wake up, because you literally get to create. This is what people don't understand, man. This is what it took me a while to realize. Thanks. I played up until 22 years old, but I might mess around and live to 100 years old, man. Yeah. So I have like 70 years ahead of me to be able to do whatever I want and be whoever I want to be. Yeah. So once you think about it from that perspective, it gets really exciting, man. And that's kind of what mental fitness is all about. As long as when you control your own thoughts, man, it makes a world of difference. And it takes practice, just like it takes, you know, you can't bench press one time and get strong, right? So it's like, I take that same application to the mindset, man. Yeah. You can't just like train your mind once. It's a daily thing, man.
Exactly. No, I definitely feel that, because I've gotten, I would say over quarantine, I've gotten really big into meditation. And I see you got meditation in here also. And like, I'm really big on Headspace. Shout out Headspace, you know. Come support your boy. But
yeah, get that sponsor. You know what I'm saying? Show some love.
For real. But no, I've been really big, and that's all Headspace really is just like being able to control your thoughts and your emotions. You know what I'm saying? Because I feel like as athletes, at least for me personally, I can only speak for myself. I'm a very emotional person. Like, just very like when I do something, it's like it's I wear my heart on my sleeves, I wear my emotions on my sleeve. You know what I'm saying? You can see it in my face. Like, I was the type of kid in seventh grade, I'm crying after we lost the game. You know what I'm saying? Like, because I'm that mad. I want to win so me bad. Too. Exactly. You feel me? So just being able to control those thoughts is so big, because it's easy to say what you just said, like I didn't make it to the league, I'm trash. Like, you know what I'm saying? Look at my other homie in the league right now going crazy. Or it's like, I made it to the league, but I was only on practice squad. You know what I'm saying? Or I got a CFL contract, but it's only the CFL. You know what I'm saying? It's easy to just be like, but like those thoughts, like being able to like really exactly pluck those bad thoughts and be able to shove them in with good ones, because I saw like there's like a stat that's like, your brain only really remembers negative thoughts. Like, it barely remember, but we're constantly hit with thoughts every day, constantly hit with information, but your brain really only registers those negative thoughts, and they keep those negative thoughts. But if you keep those negative thoughts, like, you're gonna be like, we become what we think of, what we tell ourselves. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because like what we constantly tell ourselves is who we are. You feel me? Because obviously everybody can tell me I'm great till they blue in the face, but if I don't believe I'm great in myself, like, then I'm, you know what I'm saying? I'm just kind of stuck. And nobody wants to ever be in the process of being stuck. So I just feel like meditation is huge, and mental health is so huge. I really feel like that more colleges need to. I feel like they're probably stepping it up more because I feel like mental health is a lot bigger now than it was probably, which is wild because it's not like we went to college 18 years ago. But, like, I feel like, you know what I'm saying? But I definitely feel like that should be part of the curriculum now because I've always wanted to, because I always tell my homies, because a lot of my homies are GAs, they're coaching, and then hopefully, well, they will, so they're going to probably get the head coaching jobs one day. And I'm like, I don't want to be an X's and O's coach. I don't want to be a running backs coach. I don't want to be a receivers coach. I want to be a player development coach. I want to help these kids develop from transitioning from high school to college and college to the real world, because I remember how important those people were for me. I'm still cool with like my player development guy at the University of Nevada because they were just so big in just like my development. I just think it's so important, mental health, when it comes to just like helping these kids become better. And just, I don't know, it's a lot. But like I said, I want to be helping kids develop to their transition from high school to college and from college to the real world. So that's really my biggest goal.
That's key, man. That's just as important, right? And we need more people in that space too. People who are helping athletes not only transition out of college or out of the pros, but transition into it, in the college, into the pros. Because if you don't have the proper guidance, you're going to be unprepared, man. I was the same way. Not only was I homesick, but I didn't know what to expect. You know how it is. They tell you one thing when you're getting recruited and you get there, and then it very quickly becomes, man, this is serious. I feel like I was in the military, man. I feel like I got shipped overseas or something. Like you know what I mean? So it was the homesickness. It was adapting to this has really become a business more so than like, you know, you have a job. You have a full-time 40, 50, 60-hour-a-week job on top of trying to pass your classes and stuff. So there needs to be a lot more preparation done in that area too. So I think that's a good route for you to follow, man. You could, you know, you're somebody who's been through it and people would listen to you. So why not?
That's my biggest goal. But then also, I started this part in your book too. So, cause I felt this, cause like I said, I always go through this transition of like, okay, maybe I need a job. But obviously I just need a job because I be home and there, and I just don't want to just like sit here and be sitting on my mama's house. You know what I'm saying? Like I work out, but like I still want to get some type of job experience, because I remember I was talking to my other mentor, and he was just saying, like, get a job, like, because I was like, what's your advice to like athletes who don't have much work experience and just kind of going through that transition? He was like, get a job, get that work experience, and, you know, and go try something, because you never know what you like and what you don't like. And I like what you put in the book. You were like, although I was grateful to have earned a full ride scholarship, I couldn't help but feel like I didn't have much to offer professionally. With disciplined student athlete, great time management skills, works well with others to achieve a common goal, being the only marketable skills on my resume. And I was like, damn, that is literally every single athlete. Because like I was wondering, I'm like, damn, what can I put on my resume? I mean, I'm good at team working with others. You know what I'm saying? Good time management. But yeah, so like, could you like just expound more into that? Just like athletes just not really feeling like they, really offer a lot to the business world.
Right. And unless you've done the work to prepare and know what you want to actually get into, you really don't offer much. So, and I'm not knocking your mentor. I think that's great advice to just go get a job and get some experience. Yeah. Yes, I'd say yes to that, but I say get some intentional experience, right? Because you don't just want to be, I'm doing this just to get some experience. Because time is valuable, man. So I would say the time that you would spend just looking for anything and everything to give you an opportunity, instead take a little bit more of that time to be intentional. Like I was saying earlier about what is it that you actually want, right? Because if you're able to project out, okay, like for example, let's say, I'm just throwing this out there. You and I can talk about this later in more detail, but you know, you want to help athletes transition into college right? So let's say you say, okay, 5 years from now, I want to have a program where, you know, high schools are paying me to come out and speak. Right. Yeah. So if you have that, like to run workshops for their students, for their student athletes to help them, or if you're even on college campuses receiving the incoming freshmen. So if you know that that's something you want to do, then you start to be more intentional. Okay, how can I get an internship in an athletic department? How can I, start to put together some curriculum? You see what I'm saying? It becomes more intentional where you can project out and then reel it back in and reverse engineer where you want to be. Exactly. So, but yeah, man, the bottom line is, unless you somehow magically just put yourself in position to get a whole bunch of internship experience while you were playing, you're going to come out with no experience. So yes, trial and error is great. And I talk about this in the book. Trial and error is great because you have to learn what you don't want to do as much as you need to learn what you do want to do.
Exactly.
But a better substitute for trial and error is being intentional. being clear, cultivating the vision for yourself and having that while you're getting the experience. So that's what I would say on that piece, man.
No, 100%. So then with your athletes, how do you go about discovering a job that fulfills them? A job that provides them purpose, that they're not just waking up every day and just kind of just going and being miserable. So like, cause I know you're really big on that. So, so what's the process?
And the funny thing is, JB, it's not even like, I don't know if I just attract this type of people who want to work with me because of who I am, or they listen to the podcast.
Yeah.
But inevitably, the people who want to work with me, they always end up wanting to do something entrepreneurial, right? So something I'm big on, it's not necessarily a job that they're creating, but more so, how can you get a job that's going to lead you to what you're really working on the back end? So the way I do that is I help them find a blend of, like I said, not what are you doing, but what is your lifestyle, right? I'll give you an example. Like I had someone tell me that they wanted to be a lawyer, right? So I asked them, okay, why you want to be a lawyer? Yeah. Well, they make six figures and like, I just feel like it would be like the family would be proud of me. Yeah, like that's not a big enough incentive. You're going to have to go to years and years of law school. Most of the time, lawyers just sit around and, do paperwork all day. You got to think about what your life is actually going to look like.
Exactly.
Right. So that's what I do, man. I feel like it's important when we're at the stage where we're like, okay, let's craft the vision for the future. There's many key ingredients, but the main ones is, okay, is this something that you're willing to be broke at for many years? Because chances are you will be. Exactly. Right. That's the first thing. The second thing is, does this make a contribution on someone more than yourself? Right. I'll use the example of, okay, if someone wants to be like a rapper or something, that's great that you want to rap, but do people actually like your music? Are people willing to pay to come see your show? Exactly. Right. Does it make a contribution to other people? That's another key ingredient. The other thing is, is there actually a need for what it is that you want to do, whether this is business or, just a corporate job? Like there has to be those three ingredients. Does it impact someone else? Do you enjoy doing it? Are you willing to stick with it for the long term? Because if you're not, most people give up, man. They'd be like, oh, I'm going to do X, Y, Z, and I'll jump into it, but then nothing happens. So they just quit on it. Oh, I guess it wasn't for me. I'll just go a different route.
Exactly.
But in order for you to have that longevity, it has to be something that you're so passionate about that, like, I'm willing to be broke. I'm willing to not see a penny from this if that's what it comes down to. I'm willing to, like I told you, I moved back in with my folks because that's how serious I am about what I'm doing.
Exactly.
And I'm still serious about it to this day. That's why things are starting to take off for me 100%. The way they are.
Yeah. No, that's impressive because like you said, obviously everybody wants to do something to make as much bread as possible. Everybody wants to live, whatever lifestyle they choose, you know what I'm saying? But like, are you willing to be broke to really, achieve that is a hard question. That's kind of like that gut question. That's kind of like that, like, yeah, you're not going to put the cleats back on. You're not going to put the hoop shoes back on. You know what I'm saying? Like now what type, you know what I'm saying? So that's really a tough question that you ask somebody. Cause I know if someone asked me that, like coming out of college or just still, I'm still not transition. If you ask me that right now, I would kind of be like, watch out, you know what I'm saying? Like get out of my business, you know what I'm saying? Because I'm constantly always asked that question. Because when I come back home, which honestly is why I hate being home, because I feel like I always see people who I don't really kind of want to see sometimes, and they always ask me, "So what are you doing now?" Like, all right, but what do you like want to do after football? And I'm like, I feel like 2020, I've been asked that question more than any other year, and it's always been. Like, I don't really know. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm kind of still figuring. I always say I'm in the space of figuring it out. But like, I feel like the more I do stuff like this, talk to people like you, and read more of these books and stuff like that, I'm kind of learning more and more of stuff that actually I would be passionate about. But it's just a matter of jumping out and doing it. You know what I'm saying? Because I never really had the time or the space to really jump out and do it or like really try something. Because I'd be afraid to fail. But now I'm learning like, yo, like you're gonna only be stuck in your comfort zone if I'm not ready to like jump out and maybe fail at something. You know what I'm saying? If I just like kind of only do the things I'm good at and just stick in that little box, I'm never going to expound and see what else I might enjoy doing. You know what I'm saying? Because like this podcast is definitely something that's brand new to me. It's exciting. It's something that I kind of get that same like excitement when doing this, like as I get like almost playing a game. You know what I'm saying? So it's like it's very dope. Or just like when I get around kids, and I'm able to like help them and like kind of see that like just that wide-eyed, bright eye, like, you know what I'm saying? They're just so excited and be just just being helped, just to be coached. You know what I'm saying? I really enjoy that. But I always said I'm not a coach. You know what I'm saying? Because I just personally put that on, like, I don't know, that like negative connotation on myself. I'm like, I'm just not a coach. I don't got the personality to be a coach. And then someone hit me with the opportunity, hey, you want to coach, you know, high school running backs? I'm like, you know what? I'm not really doing that right now. It's not really going to affect me, like, you know, my workouts and like that. So yeah, let me try it. But then getting out there, I'm like, yo, I love this. You know what I'm saying? It's so dope to just see like these like just raw talent, excited kids to do what they love doing, and me to just nitpick things. You know what I'm saying? I'm not trying to overcoach nobody, because I know me, I hated being overcoached. I hated like a person trying to tell me. I mean, but that's just a running back position. You don't really coach a running back position. You kind of just like work on footwork, work on stuff. You know what I'm saying? Stuff like that. But it's been so cool to do that and expound and stuff like that. And I feel like, I don't know, I'm still always figuring out what my purpose is. I feel like it's definitely been like just this running just thing for me to figure out what my purpose is and what's going to really fulfill me, because obviously I want to make a lot of bread like anybody, and I want to eat, but I'd much rather, like, I will sacrifice making millions, bajillions of dollars and being miserable than waking up and being on fire, excited about what I'm doing every single day. But I get my daily bread. You know what I'm saying? I'm able to live comfortably. I'm able to have successful relationships. I feel like that's so big, because I feel like we focus so much on the money and being successful, having hella IG followers, hella likes, having the baddest woman, whatever, all that. But it's really, to me, at least personally, it's about just being joyful, because not even being happy, because being happy is based on what happens to you. You know what I'm saying? Just being joyful and just being the best possible person I can be, helping as many people I can be, because I realize that I'm not worried so much about what's going on around me when I'm focused on other people. You know what I'm saying? When I'm focusing on other people's development, joy, happiness, I'm not really focused on my own. You feel me? So, I don't know. That was a little sermon. Lucky.
Right. I love that you. No, man, that was great. That was great. And there's so many gems in there that I want to make sure I address, because I love how you touched on, like, you're constantly in this process of transition. You're constantly in this process of evolution. Mm-hmm. And that's how it should be, because otherwise you're not really growing if you're not looking at, how can I evolve? How can I turn into something else? Even with me, man, like I told you, 3 years in, I'm at pretty much where I wanted to be. I'm coaching people. I got the podcast. I got the book. Now I've even expanded that, and I'm helping other people write and publish books and tell their stories. But I'm in a transition point right now where I'm looking at, okay, what can I do next? How else can I expand? Who else can I serve aside from just athletes? You know, what other things can I do? So I'm in a transition period too, man. Exactly. And to your point, when you said, like, you know, people are asking you, what are you going to do and all this type of stuff, like, first of all, you're in an interesting spot because you have years left. Like, you still have a professional football career ahead of you, right? You have things that you're going to be doing. Yeah. And it's easy to get kind of overwhelmed or feel like when someone asks you, well, what are you going to be doing afterwards? It's easy to get into this spot of feeling defensive or getting frustrated. Like, well, I don't know yet. Or it's almost like you want to tell them something to get them off your back. Bottom line is, you don't have to impress anybody. All you got to do is kind of, oh, man, this is, you know what I mean? And this is what I'm thinking about doing. But it's not your job to try to defend your position in life to other people. As long as you know deep down, that's all that really matters, man. You know who you are. You know what you're about.
Thanks. But, okay, this will lead me to my last question. This is something that I saw in your book also, and I felt this so much. It was like you were saying, I can't find it right now, but I wrote it down in my notes. It was, like, how athletes, like, after they're done playing, they're so quickly to try to find a job to place their identity into that job. Kind of how, like, oh, I've been this football player. That's my identity. Okay, so let me go be a police officer. You know what I'm saying? Let me go be a coach. Let me go be this and that, whatever they want to be. So they can be like, okay, I'm not this athlete anymore. I'm a police officer now. I'm a teacher now. You know what I'm saying? So they're so quickly to place their identity into other things. So, like, just expound on that, because my personal experience, I'm always, like, just growing up, I've always been JB, the football player. I got the name JB from a football coach. You know what I'm saying? So, like, it's literally anytime anybody calls me JB, it's like, oh, it's football, cool. You know what I'm saying? It's like tough guy, you know, whatever. But so I've definitely had to deal with placing my identity into, you know, JB, the football player, blah blah blah, this and that, woo woo. And then, so just like, could you expound on that more?
Yeah, man. I think the way you go about that is not being so desperate. And it goes back to what I was just telling you about wanting to explain about looking good, right? Like not being so concerned about looking good in front of other people or what they think about you, but more so being focused on that internal compass, right?
Yeah.
So the way you do that is not by attaching your identity to, okay, now I'm no longer playing my sport. Let me try to attach it to this job title or this, just so when I'm at family dinners or holiday dinners, I could, oh, I'm doing this job. And you know what I mean? Like all that is cool. But what's more important is, are you excited about what you're doing, right?
Yeah.
And even then it gets tricky because you have to be careful not to attach your identity. Right. I've had times where, especially when I was starting out, athlete for a transition coach. Right. So let's say I had a slow month or I didn't get any referrals and I wasn't coaching anybody. It would be very easy if my identity was attached to it, which it has been in the past. Like, man, who do I think I am to be coaching people and helping people? Nobody wants to work with me anyway. If that's the type of energy I'm putting out there, then that's what I'm going to get back. So I have to be very careful, even to this day, and we all do, about attaching our identity to anything that we do. Right. That's the main thing I would say about that, man. Just never really try to be mindful of not letting your identity get attached to anything you do in life. Because it sounds cliche to say, we've all heard it before. You're not what you do. You know, like we're all inherently valuable creatures. We're whole and complete exactly as we are. Like we technically really don't have to do anything. We're all God's children. So at the end of the day, man, like, your identity it's just remember that, like, whatever your identity starts to slip or you feel it getting attached to something else or you feel down on yourself because what your identity is attached to isn't taking off, isn't jumping at that moment, just be cautious about that. And remember, who am I really? You know, or start to remember the good things about yourself. Like, you know, I'm a loving son. I'm a loving brother.
Exactly.
I'm a loving friend. All those types of things.
100%, man. So, wow, that was a very therapeutic episode. I kind of took it and ran and did my own thing sometimes, and went on my own sermons, went on my own tangents about what I got going on.
Good.
So
I'm glad.
So I feel like you coaching me right now, honestly. So I owe you for a coaching session, respectfully. But
come on, man. You know you can hit me anytime. I got you. I got you with the coaching session. You got my number, man. You can hit me anytime.
Yes, sir. So how can people reach you, and also like how can people get this coaching if they're interested?
Yeah, so you can reach me at tajdashaun.com. All the links to my social media are there. Very active on LinkedIn. Recently started being very active on Instagram as well. We won't get into that. I had a whole delete all my social media, but I got back on IG last year.
I'm like that.
I've been heavily on LinkedIn, as you know, because I reached out to you in 2018. Check in.
Yes, sir.
And then what else? Clubhouse too, man. Follow your boy on Clubhouse. Definitely connect with me on there, jumping into some great rooms. Aside from that, you can get the book at thriveaftersportsbook.com. The podcast, Thrive After Sports, is available on all podcast platforms. And yeah, man, that's where you can find me. Hey, I appreciate your support, man. Thank you for getting the book, bro. That means the world to me.
It's fine. I'm definitely about to I'm honestly think I'm going to finish this in the next couple of days, because when I was reading that first chapter, I'm like, yo, this is all me right now. I'm feeling everywhere. I'm over here I'm over here highlighting, I got stuff underlined, all types of stuff. So
wow.
It's just definitely,
wow. I love to see that, man.
Yeah, it's definitely gonna help.
I appreciate, and that's why I wrote it, man. Like I said, I didn't want it to be an autobiography. I wanted it to be a tool that you can use. If anything, anytime I'm telling my story in there, it's so exactly like you said, you can see yourself in it.
Exactly.
Right. It's not about me. It's about you seeing yourself in my story and being able to apply some of the tools to have clarity in your own life. So for you, that means a lot to know that the message is being well received.
100%. So again, thank you for coming on Kicking It with JB, man. This has been a really dope episode. Like I said, man, follow this man. I'm gonna definitely put link his all his information in the description, in the bio, man. And make sure y'all, like, comment, subscribe, leave a review for all my podcasters, man. And thank you again, Taj, man. It's really important to me to hopefully help serve, hopefully help someone with this interview, not just athletes, just anybody. You know what I'm saying? Normal people in the real world too can also. Everyone's always going through a transition, so just knowing how to gauge that transition is really huge. So thank you again.
Man. Thank you, JB.
Thank you again, sir.
Thank you, man. Thank you for having me on. Appreciate all the work you're doing. You know, it's just the beginning for you, man. So I have a lot of respect for you as a man and everything that you're doing. And salute, man.
Yes, sir.
Appreciate it.
I appreciate you, man.